how's it going? Studman coming back at you once again, and today, as you can see, I look a lot different, don't I? I decided to trim my beard a bit, and of course my hair, because it's starting to get warmer. It's starting to get into those months where it's very, warm. I don't know why I would say anything else. Hot. It's almost the summer. We've gotten into the area of spring where it's not just a bunch of rain, at least not here in the Northwest. So, starting to have to put the fan on and everything. And when it gets that hot, you really, really want to have any excess hair gone. But I don't want to lose my beard. I've worked on that beard for so long, I didn't want to lose it. So I just trimmed it down a little bit. Trimmed my hair down, and I think I'm looking alright, more or less. So, yeah. Before I start today on the pickups that I made, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you can find everything that I have picked up today in the description down below. I will provide a link to every individual item. I'm going to start doing that. I just thought it might be something that you guys would appreciate, because I know some of you might be interested in picking some of these things up, might be interested in just seeing what they're all about and what I'm talking about and all that. So I just figured maybe I'll do that. Maybe people will like that, and we'll see how that works. Anyways, that being said, I went to a couple of places. I went to Goodwill right after I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which, by the way, very good movie. But then the next day I decided to go again to Half Price Books outlet. So this is majority a Half Price Books outlet update. That shouldn't come as a surprise. I go there pretty much every weekend now. So yeah, what is a surprise though is the kind of stuff that I found. So I'm going to start off with two of my favorite finds in this trip first, because I really I can't believe I found them. This first one, I guess it's not too hard to believe, but it is kind of something you wouldn't have expected to see there, and that would be Dave. I did pick up the American President and Dave double pack DVD, intending to watch those and decide if they were movies that I wanted to get on Blu-ray. I wanted to upgrade on Blu-ray. The Should I Upgrade series that I've been doing. But that I kind of knew about Dave. I knew that was something I wanted on Blu-ray. So when I saw it there for $5, I was like, I'm not going to chance it and wait until next week when they have their big sale and get it for even less. I'm not even going to chance that. Hell no. I'm going to get this right now while I can for $5, because $5 is still a pretty damn good deal for this. This is one of those copies, or one of those titles I should say, that you really don't see very often. It's not something you're going to see in Best Buy. If you're going to find it, if you want to find it, you're going to have to, maybe you get lucky and find it in Walmart or something, but you're probably going to have to order it online, and it's probably going to cost $8 to $10 at its cheapest. So $5, that's a deal I was willing to do. I was very happy about that. And of course, in immaculate condition, as most Blu-rays are, even used ones. This is a movie directed by Ivan Reitman, so you're getting some pretty good quality there. I like it, and like I said the first time when I got the DVD, it's definitely a president I can live with, unlike the one we have now. I can obviously live with Donald Trump. It's not going to kill me to have Donald Trump in office. It hasn't so far, at least, so cross your fingers. Anyways, next up I found probably what most of you will consider the best pickup today, the most incredible one, something you never see out in the wild ever, anywhere, and yet here it was. Speaking of wild, I found a out of print rare copy of Wild America. Now, for those who know about this movie, they know it's not been released on Blu-ray. This is the best release that there is, or the newest, I should say, release that there is of the movie at all. If you don't get this, you don't get nothing. And if you don't have it already, you're going to be paying out the nose for it. When I looked it up on Amazon just to see what it was going for now, the new price on it was like $76 or something like that, and then the used was $30 or $40 or something. I mean, I wouldn't pay that much for it. I'm surprised I even paid $4 for it, because quite honestly, if I end up watching this and deciding it's not a movie I really care that much about, I'll probably just sell it for the major profit for what it's, worth now, because, or maybe not exactly that high of a price, right? I might be nice and sell it at a lower price, but still make a profit off of it, because as much as I think it's an alright movie, I remember it being an alright movie, I don't remember it being a particularly great movie. The only real reason I'd want to keep this in my collection is because I'm actually a bit of a Devon Sawa fan. I really liked him in Final Destination. I really liked him in Idle Hands. I really liked him in Slackers. I mean, I like Devon Sawa, and this is one of his earlier roles, so I'll watch it again, and then I'll decide whether or not it's something that I want to keep or sell. But yeah, maybe I'll talk about that in a Should I Upgrade. Obviously you can't upgrade this right now because it's not available on Blu-ray, and it may never be available on Blu-ray. But should I keep it? Maybe I'll do that as a little addendum to a Should I Upgrade at some point in the future. Either way, very cool find indeed. Next up, I found a really weird movie. This is just, like, I don't even know. I do not even know, you guys. It's called Hank and Mike, and you can't even really tell that. Let me get the stickers off, at least some of them, so that maybe you can tell what the freaking title is. That ought to do. Hank and Mike. You can kind of see the mic, right? Okay. So, as you can tell, this is in an old Hollywood video case. It's an old Hollywood video rental, and it looks kind of weird, right? Two guys in Easter Bunny costumes. What the heck is even going on here? So, I read the synopsis. Meet Hank and Mike, two blue-collar Easter bunnies who get fired and try their hand at an assortment of odd jobs, failing at each. Fighting depression, debt, and eventually each other, these two longtime pals set out on a mission to recapture their jobs, get the girl, and settle the score. There's a bunch of special features on here, too. I didn't even notice that at first. Wasn't even looking at it. I don't know if you could tell, but one of these guys in the background there is Joe Mantegna. I was like, okay, Joe Mantegna's in this? Yeah. The two guys who are in the Easter Bunny costumes, I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're any good. I don't know if they're very funny or not. But it just seemed like a really weird, could be kind of funny. Even if it's not good, it might be funny just because it's bad kind of thing. I didn't know what to expect, but it was only $1, and it's a movie you do not see very often. You do not come across very often. So I decided to pick it up for $1 because, well, it was only $1, If I saw this in a store and I had never heard of it before, if I saw it in a rental store and it was being rented for $1, I might rent it just because, what even is this? I need to know. Next up, I found in the 25-cent bin a Sundance release, Sundance film series. This one looks to be a documentary, and it is called In This World. It is apparently a documentary by Michael Winterbottom. That name is familiar, but I don't know where from. So In This World, according to the synopsis, it follows the hazardous journey of two Afghan boys as they travel from Pakistan through Iran, Turkey, Italy, France, and the UK in search of refuge in London. A moving and dramatic story that reveals the desperate measures people take to escape persecution and the life-threatening conditions they find themselves in along the way. Now, that sounds like a really interesting concept to me, given everything we've been seeing going on in the world today. Like, it sounds like it's still fairly prescient, still fairly significant, the story that we're hearing here. And this is apparently over almost 15 years old. looking at it now, it says 2003 is when it came out or was aired in Sundance. So we're almost nearing that 15-year-old mark here, and yet the freaking synopsis sounds fairly freaking significant to what we're seeing in the world today. So, yeah, I was definitely intrigued, and at 25 cents, I wanted to see it. Next up, I found another thing in the 25-cent bin called Tropical Malady. This is the director's vision. What is it really direct? Is that what it's called? The director's vision? Let me see here, guys. And yeah, director's vision edition. I've never heard of a director's vision edition, but this is from Strand Releasing, and I noticed that immediately, and I was reminded of some of the Strand Releasing Blu-rays that I had found a couple of weeks ago during that really big, probably best haul I've ever made at Half Price Books Outlet. And I realized Strand Releasing, they do not do your typical movies. So I picked it up just thinking, this sounds like it's interesting. Apparently it's obviously not easy to come across. Tropical Malady is the lyrical and mysterious new film by maverick Thai director Apichatpong Weerasethakul. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. I'm an American and I speak English, American English, and I do not know that language, and I apologize. I know, ignorant American. Yes. Anyways, Blissfully Yours is apparently another movie he did. One of the most prominent young directors of the Thai New Wave. There's a Thai New Wave? There's a New Wave film movement happening in Thailand? Or there was, or has been? Interesting. Because this came out in 2005, so that means there was a Thai New Wave happening in the early 2000s at some point, apparently. Tropical Malady chronicles the mystical love affair between a young soldier and the country boy he seduces, soon to be disrupted by the boy's sudden disappearance. Local legends claim the boy was transformed into a mythic wild beast, and the soldier journeys alone into the heart of the Thai jungle in search of him. Just, doesn't that sound weird and interesting? And yeah, I had to check this out just because it's one of those weird movies. And I got a lot of weird movies today, guys. I will be completely honest. This is one of many weird movies that I got today. And I got it because it was weird. I'm on that weird vibe where I want to pick up stuff that's just like, you don't see this every day. So maybe think about getting it, you know. Next up, I picked up a triple feature here for $1, and that would be Cadillac Man, Running Scared, and The Couch Trip. I've never seen any of these movies, which is the main reason that I picked it up. But if there was any reason above that I picked it up, right there, Cadillac Man. I've never actually seen it, but I've heard so many good things about it, and I know that it got a release, or I'm pretty sure it got a release on, I want to say, not all of the films, but Twilight Time. Yeah, I think the Cadillac Man got a release on Twilight Time. So, yeah, the problem with that being that it is apparently already out of print. So, if you wanted it on Blu-ray, now you're going to have to pay collector's prices, and, you know, the decision of whether or not I should get this on Blu-ray will be a tough one. If it's great and I really, really want it, then maybe I'll still have to get it, or at least put it on my wish list or something like that. But yeah, I definitely wanted to at least check out Cadillac Man because I haven't seen it and I've heard good things about it, and I figured for $1 alone that would be worth it. But it also comes with Running Scared here and The Couch Trip. Both look like pretty funny, interesting movies. I can't wait to check them out. You got Dan Aykroyd in one of the movies, and of course you've got Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal here in the second. So, well, gotta give this a shot, you know what I mean? And the discs were both in fairly good condition, so couldn't complain. $1 is a pretty goddamn good price for that. Next, I found another weird movie. Oh my goodness, another weird one, guys. It is called Snow Cone, and apparently it says it comes with bonus soundtrack. It does indeed. I didn't even notice that when I opened it. This is a bonus soundtrack. Okay. Um, interesting. Usually when you find stuff like that and it says bonus soundtrack included, it's not there. If you're finding this at like a thrift store, it's not going to be there. But apparently it was, so that's kind of cool. It claims to be an Austin original film, which indicates to me that it was made in Austin, Texas. The synopsis of it sounded fairly interesting. I'm sure it's not very good. I'm sure. But the synopsis sounded pretty interesting. It says, a couple of fresh out of college stockbroker trainees at Miller Stinch are frustrated with their new corporate jobs, their intimidating boss, Bob Beasley, and sales manager, Kathy Wanton. Barely making ends meet, and amidst a quarter-life crisis, Sonny and Tony ignore the advice of their logical friend Juan Sanchez Hernandez Martinez, say that 5 times fast, and decide to open a snow cone stand in an effort to climb their way down the corporate ladder. They soon learn that there is more to running a business, even a snow cone stand, than just silly ideas. It feels like when I read that synopsis, it felt to me like the two brothers from Death of a Salesman, get together and decide, fuck it, no, forget the farm, we're gonna do a snow cone stand. Like, it sounded ridiculous, but in all the right ways that really, for some reason, just strike me as interesting. So I definitely wanted to check this out. Again, another one that's like you don't see it every day, and if you don't see it every day, you might as well take a chance on it, especially if it's only $1. And yeah, it was only $1. So can't be too upset about that. Only $1. And it actually looks like it's one of those movies that's only available print on demand. So not too upset about that, not too beat up. Let's see what shape the soundtrack here is in. I'm curious. Ha! Brand spanking new. Okay, well, more or less. It has a few scratches from having been in a little sleeve like this, but otherwise, it's actually in pretty good condition. I'm kind of shocked. The disc for the Blu-ray, or the DVD, I mean, was also in very good condition. So, yeah, can't wait to check this out and see what the heck is this even, you know? What even is this? Next up, in fact, the last two here are foreign films. I think they're both Chinese. I believe they are, but they might be... No, this is Japanese, and this is Chinese. Okay, so one of them is Chinese and one of them is Japanese. The first one here is Japanese, and it's the one that I found at Half Price Books. It is called, and you wouldn't know this by looking at the cover, I don't think, because you can barely see the title here on the cover, but or at least not in Mandarin, or not in Japanese, I should say, maybe, because it's very obscured. It's very hard to see the actual title. I'll try to point it out, but yeah, this is called Space Travelers. I know the title doesn't really match what you're seeing in the cover here, right? But if you look right down here, right there, that's where you see the title in English, Space Travelers. I'm not pointing to it, it's under my finger. just in case anybody's like, is he pointing to it? No, it was under my finger. Anyways, Space Travelers. I was just like, what the heck even is this? And I have a region-free player, so I wasn't too concerned about whether or not I'd be able to play it. And I just took a look at the synopsis, and it sounded really out there. So, 3 bank robbers. I know you're thinking it's called Space Travelers, but they're bank robbers. 3 bank robbers who declare themselves to be space travelers take 6 persons as hostages. When they are surrounded by the police, Among the hostages, there is a terrorist with a hidden bomb. Immediately, like, wait, what? So, they're robbing a bank, and one of the hostages has a bomb. One of the hostages has a bomb. A terrorist. One of the hostages is a terrorist with a bomb. What? Okay. Sure. Well, yeah. In order to escape, the robbers ask the hostages to pretend to be part of the gang. Surprisingly, the hostages soon enjoy doing so. On that strange day, strange indeed, the bank becomes a tropical paradise. Where does the tropical paradise come? I don't... What? Okay. See, that's why I'm saying, like, this is so weird, and you wouldn't see it in a rental store because it says rental prohibited. You might see it somewhere, but this is just definitely something you do not see every day. And the synopsis sounded really freaking weird. And as I usually do with these foreign films, I went on IMDb to check out what the score was for it. It was actually a 7 out of 10, which is a pretty good score for IMDb, so that's a pretty good indication that it might be it might be a good movie. So I decided to take a chance on it because it's not something you see every day, and it actually was going for a decent amount of money on Amazon, so I figured even if I don't like it, I can sell it for a profit. So yeah, $4 actually for this one, if you can see the little sticker there. This one actually cost me $4, but I didn't mind paying that because, again, I didn't want to wait and see if I could get it during the better sale, because there's always a chance when you do that somebody else during the week is going to come by and snag it, and you'll never see it again with something like this. So I didn't want to take that chance. I said, screw it. I'm going to get this weird frickin' possible masterpiece from Japan for myself. I don't care if I have to pay a little bit more for it. It's worth it. And then last but not least, that was everything I got at Half Price Books. Wait, I'm forgetting one thing actually. I did get a comic book at Half Price Books because it was free comic book day. As I'm doing this video, it was free comic book day, and they basically let you take a comic out of their older comics that they have sitting there that are always 25 cents per issue. And I looked through there and I found the first issue of the Max, which was really surprising to me. So I said, heck yeah, I'll get the first issue of the Max for free. Hell yeah, great freaking deal. And it's definitely a reader's copy, but it's not necessarily falling apart. It's not necessarily in horrible condition, so really cool. Last but not least, now we can get to the last but not least part. This is what I found at Goodwill after going to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Usually I don't find anything at Goodwill, and the problem that I have with them, of course, is their prices. Yes, I was willing to pay $4 for a couple of things at Half Price Books, but those were special cases. One of them was a foreign film that if I left it there, it was just, I'm never going to see it again. And the other one, of course, is Wild America, and you do not see Wild America in ever, first of all, and if you do not leave it there, especially if it's in halfway decent condition. So, yeah, I pretty much had to get those. But this one is a case almost like the foreign film, because it is another foreign film. So it's another case where I don't know if I'm ever going to see this again if I just leave it there. So I decided to go ahead and take a chance, pick it up, because it sounded interesting, it looked interesting, and it's another one that goes for a fairly decent price online. So if I don't like it, I can go ahead and sell it. And that would be The King of Masks. This appears to be a Chinese film. The concept behind it, the synopsis, sounded somewhat interesting. Having lost his son in the war, the artiste adopts a boy as his grandson, and hoping he may inherit his art, unfortunately, he has been hoaxed by the police. As the child turns out to be a girl, he tries to get rid of her, but without success. Yearning for a home, she clings desperately to the old man for a livelihood. Thus, the grandfather and the grandchild, though without blood relationship, lead a wandering life riddled with a series of witty but heart-rending adventures. I think they mean heartwarming. This is obviously a Chinese release, so there's going to be a bit of English involved. But as far as English goes, that's not too terribly bad on the back. It gives you a general idea, general concept for what you're going to get. And it sounds generally interesting, honestly. It reminds me a little bit of Leon the Professional. It sounds to me a little bit like that. Not necessarily exactly like that, because Leon the Professional is more of an action movie, whereas this doesn't exactly sound like an action movie, but the plot sounds very similar, you know what I mean? It's an old guy who ends up with a young girl taking care of her, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound to me like there's much action involved here. It doesn't sound to me like he's necessarily a criminal, but it definitely sounds similar and interesting in much the same way that Leon the Professional was. So, very, very interested in checking this one out, and it was $4. I don't like paying $4 for a DVD unless it's a case like this, which is why usually I don't come away from Goodwill with anything, because usually they only have, you know, the same old shit that you always see at a Goodwill. And I don't understand why they don't change their prices, because if I can get a DVD at Half Price Books Outlet for 25 cents or $1, a lot of them I do, or even, you know, not less than 25 cents. I guess I have at times gotten some for less than 25 cents during like a sale day. But it just strikes me that if they can do their sales at that price, that it doesn't make any sense for Goodwill to be charging $4 for their DVDs when most of their DVDs are the same shit you see everywhere. It's just like, what makes you think I'm going to pay that? The only case I'm actually going to pay that much for is something like this that's weird and rare, and you really don't see it very often, especially not at Good fucking Will. So it really bugs me going to Goodwill, because I feel like every time I go there, I'm going to end up seeing some pricing on there and some DVDs that are just not worth the price that they're charging, and it's going to get on my nerves to see that. And yeah, I actually, while I was at Goodwill and other people were looking through the DVDs, I kind of told them, hey, do you know about Half Price Books Outlet? Because they have 25-cent DVDs. And they didn't know, but I'm glad I did. And every time I'm there and somebody else is looking through the DVDs and kind of being friendly, I'm going to tell them there are better places to shop than this, because I don't care if I'm giving away my secret, just so long as people aren't being ripped off by Goodwill. I'm sorry, $4 is way too fucking much to pay. I'm okay with Half Price Books charging that for a lot of their DVDs, because they do frequent sale days where you can get those same $4 DVDs for a lot less than that. And it's like, well, okay, that's fine. At least if you have a bunch of this same old titles that you see over and over and over again wherever you go, at least you're not charging too much for them all the time and then never having a sale like Goodwill. At least in my neck of the woods, Goodwill never has a sale on physical media, ever. And what really pisses me off is that I actually, before going to Goodwill that day, I looked up online to see if they had any sales going on or what the deal was. And one of the things they had leading it off, the header image, was just like, we've listened to you and lowered our prices on a lot of items. Guess what one of the items wasn't that they didn't drop the price on? Guess what items they did not drop the price on? Perhaps the one item they really needed to drop the fucking price on, their physical fucking media. As a matter of fact, some of that stuff that I was looking at, like some of the PC games and the jewel cases, even got more expensive. I found, as an example, I found this there for $2, I guess a couple months ago. I went in there the other day, and the same copy of Clue that had been sitting there, like an old 90s copy of Clue for the PC in jewel case, the same copy that had been sitting there before for $2 was now $3.50. What makes you think if nobody's going to buy it for $2 that it's okay to up the price to $3.50? Assholes! I don't understand what they're thinking. It doesn't make any sense at all, and it drives me out of my... As a collector of physical media, it drives me mad. That's why I don't mind taking business away from them, because why would you care about a company that does shit like that? Why would you care about promoting a company that does shit like that? Why would you ever go to a company that does shit like that? I understand the Goodwill is not like that all over the country, because I see other people here on YouTube getting great deals at Goodwill. But in my neck of the woods, it is a horrible place to shop most often. Like, you almost never find anything, and when you do, it's almost guaranteed to be overpriced. Which is just like, this is a thrift store, guys. There are other thrift stores in the area, like Value Village, that sell their items for less, almost exclusively, all the time, across the board, than Goodwill does. Does Goodwill try to compete with Value Village? No. They maintain their high pricing. It just... I don't understand. Their logic, at least in this area of the country, it is illogical. Their idea of doing business in this part of the country is completely illogical, and I hate it. So, if you wonder why I don't go to Goodwill more often, that's why. Because I live in a part of the country where Goodwill really sucks. So, that's that. But I did, to be fair, find something there that is pretty cool, or looks pretty cool. So, hopefully it ends up being pretty decent after all. And honestly, I really had to think about whether or not I wanted to get this, because it's a lot better to just walk out with nothing sometimes than to walk out with one freaking thing, being constantly reminded that the only reason you only found one thing was because their pricing is too freaking high. So, yeah. Oh well. That'll do it for today. I did get a lot of cool stuff in the end, so I'm not beat up over any of it. But yeah, I think that's a pretty cool haul. A lot of weird stuff today, right? You got this foreign Chinese film, The King of Masks. You got Space Travelers, a Japanese film, a really weird sounding one too. Snow Cone Inc., a Austin, Texas film, a film made in Austin, Texas. Tropical Malady, a part of the Thai New Wave, apparently. Hank and Mike, 2 Easter bunnies. 2 guys dressed up as Easter bunnies, I should say. Very strange, right? I mean, these, in comparison, even in this world, these are all fairly normal in comparison, I gotta say. Wild America here being probably the best of all of them in terms of value. So, yeah. I am very, very pleased with these pickups overall, because quite frankly, if I do decide that I don't want to keep Wild America, then this sale of this DVD alone will pay for all of this. So, that's pretty cool. Anyways, that'll do it for me today, you guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Peace.